The Alberta Fish and Game Association is Alberta's oldest conservation organization. Its over 24,000 members represent 90 clubs throughout the province, and it's this grassroots support that makes the organization such a powerful force in conservation. We are the voice of sportsmen and women, and being a member adds volume to the voice of the AFGA. If you are a hunter, angler, or just love the outdoors, you can't afford not to be a member. The Wildlife Trust Fund is the flagship of the Alberta Fish and Game Association's conservation achievements. It is Alberta's oldest and most respected land trust and has grown to include over 100 properties across the province that encompass over 40,000 acres of important fish and wildlife habitat. In addition to conserving critical habitat, Wildlife Trust Fund properties provide recreational opportunities for all outdoor enthusiasts. In 2015, the Wildlife Trust Fund acquired 7 new properties that encompass nearly 1,700 acres. None of this would have been possible without our clubs and members identifying new properties, fundraising, and stepping up to steward conservation sites to ensure we get the most benefit for our wildlife resources.
Working with corporate partners and other conservation organizations within Alberta, the Wildlife Trust Fund had another extremely good year in 2015. We work very hard to take the money raised from our clubs and turn it into multiple dollars from every one raised. And last year we did that in spades. For a matter of fact, we turned every dollar from our clubs into $25 worth of habitat on the ground. And we are going to work to conserve that in perpetuity for everyone to enjoy into the future and ensure that we have fish and wildlife in our province forever. Our club should be extremely proud of the support they provide to the Wildlife Trust Fund to allow us to be so successful on an annual basis. The Wildlife Trust Fund is also very pleased to be working with the Alberta Conservation Association again with the Suncor Boreal Initiative, which helps protect critical forest habitats throughout the province. Suncor provides a block of funding every year to allow the Alberta Conservation Association to actively search for the remaining privately owned blocks of boreal forest. Every parcel located is ranked within a specific criteria to ensure the best properties are purchased. The Wildlife Trust Fund has been asked to partner on many of these projects to further conservation and ensure the long-term security of the habitat. In 2015, there were 4 unique properties secured in the Peace River region, which helped to add close to 1,100 acres to the Wildlife Trust Fund. The 159-acre Long Lake property was the final acquisition for the Wildlife Trust Fund in 2015. We partnered with the Alberta Conservation Association and the Suncor Boreal Initiative to finish this acquisition in mid-December and add it to the list as the 7th property to join the Wildlife Trust Fund last year. The site is located 53 kilometers northwest of Peace River near Dixonville. This property scores a 10 out of 10 on the Wildlife Trust Fund Habitat Assessment Form, and it also scored 6 out of a potential 6 points using the Suncor criteria and ranking form. Aside from a small clearing at the entrance of the property, the native habitat is undisturbed. There are approximately 126 acres of mixed wood forest on the property and 33 acres of wetlands. The property is directly adjacent to Crown lands and a Ducks Unlimited Canada conservation site. This property lies between 2 distinctly different surrounding land uses, with a large tract of Crown land to the north where oil and gas and forestry operations exist, and private land to the south where agriculture is the main land use. There are no signs of man-made trails or roads on the property, making it a unique site to explore the boreal forest in its original form. Moose, whitetail, and black bear are common on the property, and upland birds and waterfowl are abundant. The Sundew property, located just south of McLennan, Alberta, near Winogamy Lake, is comprised of 160 acres of primarily boreal forest. A small clearing was developed for a future building site that is now used by ungulates for grazing in the area. A small carnivorous plant called roundleaf sundew was seen on the property, and the property was actually named after it. Carnivorous plants are very rare in Alberta and speaks to the importance of securing boreal forests with their unique biodiversity. The Sundew property was purchased in partnership with the Alberta Conservation Association. There are approximately 125 acres of black spruce forest and 29 acres of mixed wood forest on the property. The remaining 6 acres consist of a small wetland area where cattails are present, and there is a grassed area in the southwest corner. Adjacent to the property to the east is native boreal forest, while agricultural land makes up the majority of the land in the surrounding area. These parcels of boreal forest are continually being threatened by agricultural and industrial expansion. Deer, moose, and elk are all regular inhabitants of the property, as well as a wide variety of birds and small mammals. The Albright 2 property is a full quarter section which was purchased to complement the existing Albright conservation site, which was secured in 2012. The Albright 2 property is native habitat and is critical for helping with water filtration and retention, as the watershed in the area has been highly developed and water quality and quantity is a concern. The Albright 2 property was purchased in partnership with the Alberta Conservation Association. This property is located in the Beaver Lodge area, which is recognized as a Suncor Boreal Habitat Conservation Project focus area. White-tailed deer and rough grouse have been observed on the property, and sign for moose, wolves, coyotes, and snowshoe hare is abundant. The property is comprised of 64 acres of black spruce forest, 35 acres of deciduous forest, and 45 acres of mixedwood forest, and 6 acres of wetlands. This property is in close proximity to Grand Prairie and was threatened by development and expansion of acreages. The Whispering Timber property is a large site consisting of 608 acres of healthy boreal forest. The site was actually located using the Suncor Boreal Initiative administered by the Alberta Conservation Association. The Alberta Fish and Game Association Wildlife Trust Fund was invited in on this partnership to complete the purchase. Whispering Timber Conservation Site is located approximately 36 kilometers north of Peace River. The 608-acre site is made up of boreal mixedwood forest that is naturally regenerated from historical logging that occurred prior to 1997. Adjacent to the property on the west and south is cultivated land, while forested land is located on the north and east. Since this property was logged in the 1990s, it has naturally regenerated and is in great condition, providing excellent habitat for wildlife in the area. Additionally, it is a rare opportunity to purchase an entire section of land with agricultural encroachment on its boundaries. Elk, moose, whitetails, and black bear are all common on the property, as are a variety of bird species and small mammals. Sites like Whispering Timber will ensure the long-term survival of wildlife in the area that depends on boreal habitats. The latest addition to the Silver Sage project is the Flag property, and this 312-acre site brings the Silver Sage complex to an impressive 2,365 acres. Now, the new site is primarily native habitat, and it adds greatly to the values on the property that already exist and to help maintain the huge diversity of wildlife that depend on it. Originally identified in 2010 as one of 5 potential acquisitions to develop a large conservation site that demonstrates restoration and management for species at risk, the Flag property sits adjacent to 12 quarter sections that have been purchased, with 8 being restored from cultivation back to native grassland. These properties sit right in the middle of Alberta's most critical sage-grouse habitat, and both sage-grouse and sharptails are routinely seen on the property. Antelope and mule deer are also regular visitors to Silver Sage, and if you are really lucky, you may even see a swift fox or burrowing owl. These sites have proven very useful in testing and demonstrating techniques for converting cultivated farmland back to native prairie landscapes, and they have become a model for projects across the province. The Flag property was purchased in partnership with the Alberta Conservation Association, Calgary Chapter Pheasants Forever Canada, and Pheasants Forever Chinook Chapter out of Medicine Hat. The 133-acre Drake property, located east of Caroline, is bisected by the Raven River and offers great fish and wildlife habitat and incredible recreational opportunities for anglers and hunters. This part of the river is well known for its huge brown trout, but the property is also home to a large number of elk, moose, deer, upland game birds, and even waterfowl. The 133 acres that make up the Drake property are comprised of typical parkland vegetation with a healthy mix of aspen, spruce, and pine. Limited logging occurred in the 1960s, creating a number of meadows and trails that see heavy use by ungulates. This is without question one of the most impressive Wildlife Trust Fund properties. The property is relatively flat, and over half a mile of the Raven River runs through the northern portion, providing great opportunity for anglers. An extensive system of trails provides easy access for hunters or families looking for a place to go on a nature walk on a warm summer afternoon. Access is off Highway 54 to the north or an unimproved trail to the east. The Drake property was purchased in conjunction with the Alberta Conservation Association. The Wintergreen project is 161 acres of habitat situated about 12 kilometers northwest of Innisfree. When the owners decided they were going to sell this, they wanted to ensure the conservation values were going to be maintained in perpetuity. They brought their proposal to the conservation community, which led to a number of conservation organizations partnering to make this purchase a reality. This quarter section is comprised primarily of deciduous boreal forest, but a large wetland can be found on the southern end of the property. The rolling terrain provides ideal habitat for moose and deer, as well as a variety of upland birds and small mammals. The wetland provides a nesting and staging area for both ducks and geese, and a small area of cropland will be converted back to native grass to provide grazing for area ungulates. The Wintergreen property was purchased in partnership with the Alberta Conservation Association and Suncor Energy, as well as Ducks Unlimited Canada. The property is located adjacent to other conservation properties managed for waterfowl and wildlife, helping to create a landscape of habitat to support diverse and robust populations of wildlife. The property has excellent recreational value with respect to hunting, hiking, and bird watching. The Wildlife Trust Fund continues to be strongly supported by the members and clubs of the association. And without their continued support, we wouldn't be able to accomplish the goals that we do on an annual basis. I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for helping make the Wildlife Trust Fund so successful. The good news is we have lots of program lined up for 2016, and it is imperative that we continue to get support from our clubs and members. Can you imagine the legacy that we can create from our existing membership for the future of wildlife and what that'll mean to our future generations and grandchildren? While property securement is the cornerstone of the Wildlife Trust Fund, there are a lot of other responsibilities involved in owning more than 40,000 acres in the province. These include grazing leases, oil and gas development, fencing, access issues, livestock management, noxious weed control, property inspections, neighboring landowner relations, liaison with other conservation groups, referrals, and habitat assessment and evaluation.
Proper management of these properties depends heavily on AFGA members, and we have established a volunteer stewardship program to ensure they are well looked after. Volunteer stewards conduct biannual inspections and assist habitat staff with maintenance and special projects. With such a large number of properties located right across the province, there's no way these properties could be properly cared for without the dedication of our volunteer stewards.
Hi, I'm Andy Boyd. I'm a volunteer with the Alberta Fish and Game Association, a life member, as well as a life member of the Sherwood Park Fish and Game Association, my home club. I've been involved with the Wildlife Trust Fund for a number of years. The primary property I'm connected with is the Golden property. I'm a steward there. I guess the reason I personally got involved with the Wildlife Trust Fund is I recognize the importance of having land available for wildlife, habitat land, and the critical need for that in a number of areas of the province where development has impacted wildlife habitat quality. With the increased acreage of areas coming under the Wildlife Trust Fund program, there's a need for more help in managing the areas and to keeping an eye on what's going on there on a day-to-day basis. The main value of the program, the Wildlife Trust Fund program, is the ongoing conservation of wildlife habitat in the province. And it's, to me, there's nothing more important that a hunter or an angler or anyone who enjoys the out of doors can do than to help conserve wildlife habitat. This is just a golden opportunity to get involved, to leave a legacy for your children, to make sure that wildlife remains on the scene in Alberta into the future, and this program needs your support, and you'll get a lot out of it personally.
The Pronghorn Corridor Enhancement Project is a joint initiative between the Alberta Fish and Game Association and the Alberta Conservation Association. We have worked together with private landowners in southern Alberta to remove fences that are barriers to pronghorn movement, and to replace barbed wire with smooth wire on bottom strands to facilitate easier movement by antelope. This project is only made possible by the thousands of volunteer hours that AFGA members commit. In the past 6 years, hundreds of miles of fences have been made pronghorn friendly. With the pronghorn at the northern extent of their range in Alberta, projects like this are more important than ever in ensuring the future of pronghorn in the province.
Hi, my name is Ron Davies, and then this is my son Parker. I like it because it helps the antelope population, and I'm also wanted my son Parker to get involved to volunteer for something that we believe in.
Yeah, I like helping the antelope out too. It was the first time when we did it, we removed page wire, and the next morning we saw an antelope in that field where there was page wire fence before, so that made me feel like it was all worth it.
Hi, I'm Doug Haslam. I'm part of the Alien Recreational Boundary Institute, an artist collector based out of Calgary, Alberta. We've been operating for about 7 or 8 years now. We're interested in boundaries, barriers to natural migration routes, I guess, or anything that kind of disrupts the natural function of an environment. And when we heard about the whole sort of situation dilemma with the pronghorn antelope and what was being done by the Alberta Fish and Game Association, we were really quite interested in getting involved. So I think what's really been interesting for us too is just it's certainly has been about the project itself in terms of working to help with the antelope, but it's also what we've been able to experience in terms of the relationships we built with people, hunters, the Alberta Fish and Game Association, working with ranchers, people, getting a better understanding of what's really happening on the land that surrounds the city, I guess, Calgary being an urban person. So it's been a very interesting process for us, gaining that sort of understanding of what goes on those ground level, and just incredible experiences working with the individuals while we're, which includes the people we meet in the towns and smaller rural areas as well.
Youth are the future of the Alberta Fish and Game Association, and we run many programs to help foster their love and understanding of the outdoors. These include mentored hunts, wildlife and habitat projects, as well as providing a number of educational programs through our various clubs throughout Alberta. These youngsters are future hunters and anglers, and by involving them in these programs at a young age, we can ensure that the future of our precious fish and wildlife resources are in good hands. Several youth camps are also held each year, and youngsters have the opportunity to learn about firearms, archery, boating, and a host of other outdoor activities. Thousands of Alberta's hunters and anglers got their start at an AFGA youth camp.
I've really been enjoying this camp and the way it's orientated. It's orientated around what I love. I love being out in the bush, hunting, fishing, just going out and enjoying the outdoors. The archery range is actually really amazing. They got tree stands and stuff, so you can practice stand shooting. And you can, they got a great setup if you need to sight in your bow. The big bore range, they got handguns if you never got a chance to shoot any of those at home. They got 22s. You get your boating license, you get your junior PAL. I mean, there's not a whole lot not to like, I guess. It's a really fun camp, and I recommend anybody that enjoys the outdoors to come out here and try it.
It's like my favorite place in the entire world, and like I don't like it in the city, so out here I get to relax and be with really good people. I get to help kids try new things, which I love. Like I love archery, and when the kids get to pick up a bow for the first time, it's like my favorite thing. And the food is really good. Yeah, and it's a really good time. It's like the people out here are like my family, so like I'm closer with them than some of my actual family members. I was a really shy kid, and then I came here and now I can like talk to people, and I can actually make friends now because I was really awkward, because you get thrown out here with a whole bunch of people you don't know. So you just make friends, and then you get to be in the outdoors and get fresh air and just have a really good time, shoot some stuff. It's fun.
Women play an ever-increasing role in the outdoors, and each year we hold camps specially for them. The Becoming an Outdoor Woman's program is designed for ladies interested in honing their outdoor skills and learning more about archery and firearms. The camps offer a very fun and friendly environment for women to learn and make new outdoor friends.
This whole surroundings is awesome. The people, the camp leaders, everything is there. Everybody here is great. So far we've learned how to make fire from nothing, and we're doing pretty good at it. And we did the outdoor cooking, which was way too awesome to eat.
Yeah, the cooking, I think right now so far is my favorite part, is just the food. It was really good, and I thought at first I was like hesitant of trying it. So
we're just all gearing up now for the guns, so that's going to be interesting too.
I'm excited to shoot guns, to be honest.
For today, the gun thing is the best. For me, I'm looking forward to the kayaking and canoeing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be great.
Another important program delivered by the Alberta Fish and Game Association is Operation Grassland Community. The stewardship program works directly with landholders in Alberta to secure and enhance prairie wildlife habitats for species at risk. OGC believes the prairie habitats can be wisely used, ensuring the sustainability of both wildlife habitats and agricultural livelihoods. Over the past few decades, OGC has established voluntary stewardship agreements with over 300 landholders who are voluntarily protecting over 900,000 acres of native prairie habitat in southern Alberta. In 2013, the Alberta Fish and Game Association took over administration and the sale of the Minister's Special Raffle and Auction licenses. These special licenses for bighorn sheep, elk, and mule deer raise a significant amount of funds for conservation and education projects throughout the province. The lucky winner of the elk raffle license will have a unique opportunity to hunt the entire province outside of regular seasons. Traditionally, elk have been found throughout the foothills and subalpine areas of Alberta, but they are now very plentiful in the parkland and prairie regions of the province as well. Recent Minister's Special License hunts have produced some exceptional elk, and the opportunity to harvest a bull in excess of 400 inches exists. The lucky winner will be able to hunt some of North America's biggest elk during a season that extends to December 31st. The mule deer license is the most recent of the raffle licenses. Mule deer are widely distributed throughout Alberta, and their numbers have steadily increased to an estimated population of 175,000 animals. Alberta is well known for producing monster bucks, including the #1 non-typical in the world. Recent Minister's Special License hunts have produced some exceptional bucks, and the opportunity to take a deer in excess of 200 inches exists. The lucky winner will be able to hunt some of North America's largest mule deer during a season that extends to December 31st. The Minister's Special Bighorn Sheep License is the premier raffle prize. Alberta's provincial mammal, the Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep, is renowned for both its size and the magnificent habitat it occupies. Alberta rams currently occupy 8 of the top 10 spots in the Boone & Crockett record book, including numbers 1 through 3. Alberta has produced some exceptional rams in the past decade that continue to rewrite the record books. The lucky winner will have the opportunity to hunt a special season that extends to December 15th. The possibility to take a once-in-a-lifetime trophy is a reality. The restricted funds are used solely for the purpose of covering the costs of implementing and carrying out conservation programs in Alberta. In order to achieve this, AFGA can create partnerships with other organizations interested in conservation. To fulfill its mission and provide a framework for restricted fund expenditure, AFGA uses a committee comprised of various conservation organizations to make recommendations for conservation programs related to habitat improvement and fish and wildlife management. Tickets for all 3 species are just $10 each. Regardless of the outcome, you'll have the satisfaction of knowing that a minimum of 60% of the total dollars raised by each of the 3 species will be allocated to projects deemed beneficial to that species. This money will be used on the ground to enhance Alberta's fish and wildlife. In the first year of granting, approximately $223,000 was granted to projects as diverse as bighorn sheep population structure, prevention of sheep die-off due to pneumonia, persistence of elk in the Yahatinda, experimental harvests for CWD control and mule deer, antelope corridor enhancement, grizzly bear populations in southwestern Alberta, and increasing and enhancing wildlife habitat on Alberta's working ranches, to name a few. Just over $50,000 was also allocated for conservation education, such as youth camps, women's camps, and reprinting of program instruction guides. We encourage all members to support the purchasing of these tickets. The Alberta Fish and Game Association is a strong voice in protecting the rights of hunters and anglers in Alberta. In addition to adding your voice to the largest conservation organization in the province, your AFGA membership includes all hunters and anglers in the province should become members of the Alberta Fish and Game Association. The cost of membership is low, and the strength of our voice grows with each member. We are the voice of anglers and hunters in Alberta. Be certain you are heard. Join today.